Good morning, students. Welcome to the class. I hope you all are fit and fine. We have started chapter number 6, Weather and Climate. We have already discussed this chapter in the last 2 days. Okay, weather and climate, there's a difference between these terms. Weather is just about the day to day temperature of a particular area. And when you talk about the aggregation of that weather over the 30 to 40 years, then it compiles to form as a climate. Okay, we have already discussed. So first 2 3 minutes, what I will do is that I will just revise what we have done in last 2 days. Okay, so weather and climate and sun, the solar energy coming from the sun is called as insolation. And this insolation, the sun energy is not constant in every part of the globe. Some area receive direct sun rays, okay, and some area receive inclined sun rays. The area which receive direct sun rays, ultimately that area will have more heat as compared to the other one. And on the basis of this, the globe, the earth is divided into three parts. Temperate, okay, so first is, sorry, torrid, then temperate, and last one, third one is frigid. Okay, temperate is in between the torrid and the frigid. The maximum heat which generated in the torrid zone, also known as the tropical zone, okay, which lies in between the tropic of Cancer and the Capricorn, which we have seen in the last day video. Then we have seen about the definition of temperature, that is the degree of hotness and coldness, and the unit and the instruments used for measuring the temperature, because temperature also play a very much important role for the formation of any kind of climate. And thermometers are used to do that process. Okay, now atmospheric pressure is the other term which we have related with the climate part. Atmospheric pressure is the pressure which is generally felt by, okay, which is exerted by the atmosphere on a particular body. And the instrument used for that is barometer. And there are different kinds of barometers, yes, mercury barometers and the aneroid barometers. After this, we have talked about the pressure belts. Pressure belts, what are pressure belts? That when air get heated, okay, that air will expand. As it expands, its density decreases and the air become light. As air become light, it will, it will, uh, it will rise and resulting into the circulation of the air. So this high pressure system and low pressure systems, due to the temperature or the solar energy heating process, resulted into the formation of different kinds of belts on the globe. Equatorial high pressure belt, then subtropical low pressure belt, then subpolar high pressure belt, and polar low pressure belt. So it's a combination of high, low, because wind, or you can say the air, flow from high pressure to the low pressure. You can easily understand this. For an example, take an example of balloon. Okay, the air will move from the inside of the balloon to the outside. Okay, so the air is in the high pressure in the balloon, and that has now gone to the outside to a low pressure areas. So this was about the pressure belts which were formed during the globe system. Wind, the movement of air is called wind, and that play an important role in taking the overall climate weather conditions of that winds. So movement of air is called wind, and there are three kinds of wind: planetary winds, seasonal winds, and local winds. Okay, next topic is local storm, but let's just keep on repeating these things because it will be more clear to you. Now, planetary wind, planets related, the wind which blow throughout the year on a particular area in a globe, okay, कुछ ऐसी जगह है जहां पर विंड जो है पूरे साल एक ही डायरेक्शन में ब्लो करती है, okay. Planetary wind, for example, trade winds. Some winds which change their direction with respect to the season, that is called as seasonal winds. For example, monsoon winds. Yes, monsoon winds which comes to India, okay, it come from the southwest direction, but it goes from the northeast direction. So the change in the monsoon and the direction of a wind makes that example of a seasonal wind. Local winds are related to area specific. For example, Rajasthan Haryana area will have the winds like Lu, okay, which is locally or related to a very small areas, okay. So that is the difference between the three kinds of wind: planetary winds, seasonal winds, and the local winds. Now the next topic is about local storm. What is local storm? We will take one case study also, storm bars in India. Then we will move to the last topic, that is humidity. Okay, there are different kinds. What is humidity? What are the different kinds of humidity? There are two different kinds of humidity: relative humidity and absolute humidity. Okay, evaporation, condensations. What are the different forms of condensations? What are the different forms of precipitation? So that are very much important because it is all related to the climate. Okay, so let's start with, I will be starting the chapter. Okay, it will be an audio file from the Cordova system, and after that I will be repeating it in my own easy language.
Local storms. In tropical regions like India, storms are violent. These are thunderstorms accompanied by lightning and rain. Local storms are known as tornado, hurricane, and typhoons. The most devastating is hurricane. It forms over large oceans. From there it moves towards land. It is extremely strong and causes havoc and huge destruction to life and property.
You see at the back, these are the original pictures. Okay, this is the original pictures of natural disaster caused by the hurricanes. Okay, hurricanes, these thunderstorms are very much uh, negative because it results into the huge destructions, okay, of life and property.
Humidity. The
So see, the next topic is humidity.
The amount of water vapor present in the air is called humidity. The presence of water vapor varies a lot from place to place and also from time to time. Though at a place, water vapor constitutes only 1 to 4% of air, it regulates the day-to-day changes in weather, formation of clouds, and temperature. Humidity is high when there is rise in the temperature and vice versa. The instrument used to measure humidity is called hygrometer.
Hygrometer. So you have to be very careful here. Instrument used to measure temperature is called as thermometer. Instrument used to measure atmospheric pressure is called as barometer. Instrument used to measure humidity is called as hygrometer. Overall humidity, what is humidity? Humidity is the water molecules present in air. So water molecules, water vapors, we know that there are small minute particles of waters which are present in the air in these, okay, in a very small amount, okay, that is 1 to 4%, but that also affects the weather and the climate of a particular area, okay. And temperature have a direct relations with the humidity. If there is a high temperature, there will be a high humidity. If there is a low temperature, then there will be a low humidity.
Humidity is expressed as absolute humidity. It is considered as the actual amount of vapor that an air column contains at a given temperature. This is measured in grams per cubic meter. Relative humidity. It is the ratio between the actual amount of water vapor present in a given volume of air at a given temperature and the maximum capacity of the air to hold moisture at that temperature.
So See, relative humidity, it is the ratio of actual, okay, it is the actual amount of water vapors holding by a, uh, you can say, in a particular volume of air in a given temperature. The absolute humidity is the what is the total, yes, total amount of, you can say, the which amount of air, okay, holds the water molecules. That is measured in gram per meter cube. Gram per meter cube means meter cube is in denominator. No, denominator. Next is the relative humidity, and you will find that it is measured in percentage. You will easily find that today in news you generally say that humidity is 60%, 70%, 80%. So what is this 70%, 80%? This relative humidity. That means if there is a 100% capacity of air to hold the water molecules, it have only 60% water in it. Okay, if that air have 100% humidity, okay, if the all the air contain the water molecules and there is a relative humidity which is 100%, then ultimately that will lead to the dew and frost formations. Okay, and that air is also called as saturated air.
It is expressed in percentage. Evaporation.
Some topics related to this.
Evaporation is the process that changes a liquid into vapor. Evaporation takes place everywhere, every time and at all temperatures. It is added through transpiration from moist ground and plant. Condensation. At a given temperature, there is a certain limit to the quantity of water vapor that the air can hold. When the air contains maximum amount of water vapor, it is said to be saturated. The temperature at which air gets saturated is called dew point. When the temperature of the saturated air reaches below the dew point, the water vapor begins to change into droplets of water. This process is called condensation. If the temperature goes further lower, the water vapors change into snow. Condensation takes place around the dust particles in the air. The important forms of condensation are
So evaporation is the process when the liquid changes, evaporates into form, into the gaseous states, liquid to gas states. For example, boiling. Okay, once you start boiling the water, after some time you will find that the water is less remain in the stove and all the water have evaporated from the stove because of the heating taking place, and there is a very less water remained in that form. So that steam which goes out is the process of evaporation. Okay, that is the process of evaporation, liquid to gas. Now, on the other hand, condensation is somewhat opposite to the evaporation. What happening here is that the air contains certain amount of humidity. Okay, if that air contain almost full amount of humidity, for example, if air have 100% humidity, that means that air contain full humidity, and the temperature, okay, and the temperature on which that humidity is maintained, okay, the air contain the 100% humidity, that temperature is called as dew point. Okay, after this there will be a formation of, yes, liquid. So the gaseous states generally changes into the liquid, and the process is known as condensation. Condensation have different forms. You have to be very much clear about this because there are, we will be studying four different kinds of condensation forms and four different kinds of precipitation forms. Don't confuse between the forms of condensations and precipitations. Okay, let's see, let's check the four different forms of condensations.
dew. During winter, when the moist air directly comes in contact with cool surface like grass or plant leaves, it condenses into droplets of water which are called dew. Frost. When dew drops get frozen into ice due to the fall in temperature, it is called frost. Wonderful to know. The jet planes leave behind white tails which are the condensed moisture from the engines. This tail can be seen as there is no movement of air in the stratosphere to disturb it.
You can easily relate with this. You can easily relate with this. I hope you all have ambitions, and many of you have ambitions related to becoming a fighter pilot or a commercial pilots. And whenever you have seen the airplane at the sky, you will find that there is a tail, white tail coming from behind of the plane. So now you will understand that that tail is actually is a condensed moisture coming from the engine of the uh, aeroplane. So that is why, and as there is very less movement of air in the stratosphere, we have covered, yes, idle layer for the aeroplane is stratosphere. Okay, so there is little bit movement of air. That is the reason, okay, you can easily see this tail, okay, from the plane side.
Fog. It is formed when condensation takes place in the lower layers of the atmosphere, above water bodies or close to the land surface. It reduces visibility during winter. Clouds. These are formed when water vapor in the air condenses around dust particles into tiny droplets of water. On the basis of their heights, various types of clouds are: A. Nimbus.
So see, now before clouds there are three different forms which we have already discussed. One is dew, the other is frost, and the third is fog. Dew, we all know that the water droplets in the winter season, you will easily able to find water droplets in the morning on the grass or on a stone on a very cold region. That water droplets are called as dew. Second is frost. Okay, now the frost system is related bit to dew, but the system here is that it is not the water droplets, it's the ice crystals. It is these ice crystals which you will find on the grass or you will find on the stone. So that is called as frost. Fog is dhund. Yes, in Hindi we call it as dhund, or in Punjabi you can easily relate with that, relate to, yes, lead to less visibility in the system, and generally you will find in the winter seasons of India. Clouds form at the upper layer of the atmosphere near to the dust particles, because the water droplets, some water droplets will condenses and form into a different shapes. Now clouds have different shapes, we will discuss that in detail. Now first one is nimbus, and the cloud which you see at the back of this, uh, you can say the chapter, okay, in this screen, that is the formation of the nimbus.
These types of clouds are dark and full of water. B. Cumulus. These clouds are white or grey. C. Cirrus. These clouds are feather white. D. Stratus. These clouds are thin white sheets. Nimbus and cumulus clouds bring rain.
So there are different types of clouds. Okay, you should just know the clouds type. There is no need to just to go in detail as such. So nimbus, cumulus, cirrus, stratus are the different shapes and different kinds of clouds which are formed in the atmosphere. Okay, and nimbus and cumulus are the two clouds which bring rains to the areas.
Precipitation. When
Now, precipitation, we have discussed about the condensation, evaporation. Precipitation is a different thing, and it has four different kinds of different forms of precipitations. Don't confuse it with the condensation part. Okay.
When tiny droplets of water join one another, they grow in size until the air is unable to hold them, and under the gravitational force they fall down. This process is called precipitation. The different forms of precipitation are: rain. When the condensed water vapor in the clouds falls down in the form of water droplets, it is called rain. Rainfall is the most important form of precipitation.
So first of all, you should know what is precipitation. So precipitation, okay, what we are talking about here is that when the the capacity of air to hold water, yes, reduces, and the water droplets, due to its weight, start falling to the ground, okay, whether in the form of rain, whether it is in the form of snow, okay, that comes under the precipitation. That is called as precipitation. Now, precipitation has different forms. One of the form is rain, and we are discussing it in detail because rain is very common, and there are three different kinds of rain or two different kinds of rain in your syllabus. So we will discuss that, okay, and then we will move to the next form of precipitation.
There are three types of rainfall. A. Convectional rain. It is experienced throughout the year in the equatorial and tropical regions in the afternoons. When the rays of the sun heat up the land surface, the air near the surface gets heated up. It rises in the form of convectional air currents. These currents attain a great height. Water vapor in these currents condenses very quickly at that height and a heavy rainfall occurs. This is called convectional rainfall.
First type of rainfall is called convectional rainfall. Convectional rainfall is the normal rainfalls, means the rainfall which you see near around us is a normal rainfall. Okay, means the water, okay, the air and the water, it's get from the land, and as it is heated up, it reaches to the upper atmosphere, and from there it quickly turn into the water droplets with the cooling of the atmosphere, because from the air which passes, which come from the ground, was heated up light, and it goes up. After that, when after some times, after reaching a particular height, the air started, you can say, freezing, and ultimately resulted into the rainfall in that area. So this kind of rainfall general system is called as conventional rain.
It is often accompanied by thunder and lightning. B. Relief rainfall. This is the most widespread form of rainfall. When the moisture-laden winds strike against a mountain or a hill, they rise upwards, expand and cool down. This results in condensation and rainfall on the windward side of the mountain. This type of rainfall is called relief rainfall. The leeward side of the mountain get a little or no rainfall.
So the second one is called as relief rain or relief rainfall. Now this relief rainfall is also called as orographic rainfall. Now what has happened, that suppose this is the mountain, okay, this is the mountain, and wind is coming from this side, okay, and the side from which the wind is coming, that side is called as the windward side. The other side is called as the leeward side. Other side is called as the leeward side. So mountain ki this side is called windward side, and this side is called as opposite to that is called leeward side. Now what happens that when the air coming from the windward sides, okay, it's goes with the mountain, and after in a height, okay, because it reaches the height, it's become colder, and the droplets start falling on this side only, okay. So this area receive a very high rainfall. You will find many monsoon rainfall coming from the Kerala sides, Western Ghats areas, that are related to relief rainfalls. That area will have a large, huge amount of rainfall. But once the air reaches to the leeward sides that contain less moisture, okay, and there will be a low rainfall, or there will be a very less rainfall, and that is why this area is also called as rain shadow area. Rain shadow area. Third is a cyclone rain, as it is somewhat related to cyclone. Let's see how.
C. Cyclonic rain. As the name suggests, this type of rainfall is linked with cyclones. In a cyclone, a low-pressure area is created in the center. Winds from all sides rush towards this low-pressure area. As a result, there is a circular motion which causes the whirling air at the center to rise up. This rising air cools down, condenses and brings rain. This type of rainfall is known as cyclonic rainfall. Rain
So rainfall related to cyclone, what happens that you will generally see that cyclone generally formed on the sea sides, okay, sea levels, ocean level. Now ocean has already have a very good amount of moisture with them, and with the rise of the air from the low pressure cell to the upper air area, The water, the air reaches the upper atmosphere with the help of that cyclonic motions, and after some time that results in a rainfall, that is cyclonic rainfall. And all the cyclone, you will find that whether it comes from the Bay of Bengal side or the Arabian sides, that brings a lot of rain to the coastal areas of that. Suppose Andhra Pradesh, Odisha sides, okay, Andhra Pradesh sides, they receive a very heavy rainfall when it was struck by a cyclone. Okay, so the first type of precipitation is rain. Rain has three different types: conventional, relief, and cyclonic. Be clear with the concept, guys.
Rainfall gives us fresh water. It helps in producing several crops. But the rainfall is not evenly distributed. Sometimes it causes floods and droughts also. Hailstones. When convectional currents carry water vapor to a great altitude, water vapor freezes. When these frozen drops become bigger, they fallen as hailstones.
So hailstone in Hindi we call it as ओले. Yes, आपने देखा होगा ओले कहते हैं. In Punjabi it is called गड़े. Okay, so hailstone, what is hailstone? It is the small ice crystals, balls, okay, which generally means the water which are present at the upper atmosphere at the great altitudes. What happened that the water vapors that freezes, and that freezes droplets are generally in the form of a small balls, and they fall as the hailstone. Okay, and they are very much dangerous, and it damages the crop wherever it falls, and even it can uh, result into the destruction of the properties, humans, as well as the livestock.
Hailstones can cause great damage to crops, animals and human beings.
Yes.
Sleet. Sleet is that form of precipitation in which rain and flakes of snow fall together.
Sleet, the third type of precipitation, what is it? It is the precipitation in which the rain, okay, rain plus flake of snow. So it's a combination of both falls together, okay, and it is why it is this causes slippery roads, and accidents prone areas become more frequent when the sleet is falling.
It is very dangerous for people who are
Yes.
driving as it forms a slippery surface over the roads. Snowfall. It usually
The fourth and the last precipitation is snowfall.
occurs in cold countries when the ground temperature and cloud temperature becomes zero. Precipitation occurs in the form of feathery flakes or snow. In India, Kashmir, Shimla and Mussoorie have snowfall in winter.
So, snowfall is the last PPT. Okay, that is the precipitations, and you will find that in the Himalayan regions, Jammu and Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Leh Ladakh areas, Arunachal Pradesh, some areas that receive a good rainfall. Yes, Mussoorie, Manali, Kullu, all these are the hill stations, Shimla, where you will find the snowfall as a general concept in the winter climates or in the winter season. Okay, so these are the four different kinds of precipitations, and this was the chapter related to the winter weather and climate. Just read it once. Okay, I will be sharing the question and answers with you. If you have any doubt, just contact me on. Okay, thank you so much for joining.